Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Malicious Compliance. Story 1. Second-hand store won't donate extra clothes because I didn't check a box on a form. There's a store in my city where you can bring your unwanted clothes to and they will sort through them, buy the ones they like off of you, and give the rest of them back. They also have an option to just drop a bag of clothes off, and you can come back and pick up the ones they don't want later. Or you can just check the box to have them donate whatever is left. A few years ago I dropped a bag of clothes off and figured I'd go through what they didn't want when I picked up the money just to see if there was anything I might want to keep before it got donated. When I picked up the cash and took a quick look through the bag, I told the person behind the counter, "Thanks so much, I don't actually want any of these so they can be donated." She told me that she couldn't donate them because I hadn't checked the donate box on the form when I dropped my clothes off. I argued that shouldn't matter since they donate clothes anyway, so what's the difference? She was adamant that she would not take my clothes for donation. We went back and forth on this for a full minute or so, with both of us getting more annoyed by the other. Eventually I thought, fine, I'll play your little game. I picked up the bag and said, "All right, thanks so much," and left the store. 5 seconds later I walked back in with the exact same bag saying, "I have a bag of clothes to sell, and I'd just like to donate whatever you don't buy." She looked at me pissed and said, "Fine, I'll just donate them, but next time just check the box on the sheet." I walked out of there with my money and otherwise empty-handed. Story 2. The one-time dress code hurt men. Couple disclaimers. First post. So sorry if things aren't worded well, and also this story happened to my dad, not me, so I don't have all the details exact. So in 1987, my dad got his first high school summer job on the kitchen staff for a local pizza place. The place was a family-owned business and did make great pizzas, but they had just started to gain traction and just opened a couple secondary locations, and it was starting to inflate the owner's head a little. This meant the owner was getting focused on their image, particularly in regards to the dress code. The dress code for servers and kitchen staff was the same, the company's shirt on top, tucked in with a belt to either black pants or a black skirt, and loafers or heels. No shorts, untucked shirts, or casual shoes. The issue with this is that it was summer in the 80s in a town where A/C wasn't a thing yet, and the kitchen staff were standing next to pizza ovens all day. The girls on staff would wear skirts that fit the code, but they were able to free the knee and get some breeze on their legs from the fans, while the guys constantly complained to their kitchen manager that they were going to overheat in pants and they needed to wear shorts in the back. The manager always said dress code was owner policy, and that if they disobeyed it they would have to get written up at the least. So one day my dad and some of the other guys had enough, so they asked their girlfriends for help and came into work with skirts themselves. The owner walked into his original store that afternoon for a check-in to find a dozen sweaty teenage boys with shit-eating grins wearing skirts so short they probably would have been dress-coded even if they were girls, and tossing pizzas like nothing was different, led by a 5 to 15-year-old kid with earrings. Yeah, my dad's a short king, which adds to this. After that, guys were allowed to wear shorts on kitchen staff but still not as servers. My dad and his friends were not fired but were warned to never pull that kind of shit again, and the pizza place just celebrated their 50th anniversary this summer. Story 3. Careful what you ask for. I went with my husband to a drive appointment with a new drive. My husband had various medical things going on at this point. One thing being he had very recently had all his teeth removed. We get in the office and my husband is embarrassed for one and in extreme pain. I was trying to help by answering some of the questions the doctor was asking. So the doctor says, "Just one of you answer." Oh. No problem. I just lean back against the wall behind my husband and start looking around. The doctor realizes that he can't understand what my husband is saying without teeth. He instantly looks to me for an answer and I look directly at him and look away. It takes 4 times for my husband to repeat himself before he gets understood. There were probably a dozen more questions that needed answered. It was a joy to watch him squirm. It was a great doctor visit for me after being told he didn't need my input. Be careful what you ask for, Doc. Story 4. Don't want me to break a rule to save the company money, sure. This started about 4 years ago or so. Background: I was a regional manager for a manufacturer. My territory was 26 states. I got a car allowance, $700 per month, that was for my car usage for work. For non-drive travel, I could do whatever I want, within reason, but it couldn't exceed X% of sales. Where I live, there are some parts of my territory that I had to drive to. There were no flights available, without significant wasted times connecting. Think, driving to Boston 1HR, to connect through New York or Philly, and then to Syracuse, New York or Rochester, New York. For any drive over 4 hours, I'd rent a car at the local rental office vs flying. However, the bean counters caught me doing this and reminded me about my car allowance, and I shouldn't be renting cars from home. Malicious compliance. From then on, I would fly to these places. Flying to Rochester, New York? A 5.5 HR drive before, but now I'd drive the 1 HR to Boston, fly to Detroit 1.5 hours, connect 1 HR layover to fly to Rochester 1 HR. Have to fly in a day early, and stay a day later. So instead of a one-night trip, it turned into a 3-day trip. Instead of $500 trip, it turned into a $1,500 plus trip, between flights / extra hotel nights / food etc. Oh, and the rental car. This went on for 4 years till I recently switched companies. Any travel outside of New England turned into a multiple night trip with flights and hotels / meals etc. It probably cost the company $10,000 a year in useless extra trip costs. Story 5. You're upset I'm the top performer, then you get yourself a bare minimum employee. TLDR at the bottom. For background, me jobs have always been geared towards data entry, as that's what I am best at. I've always typed over 120 plus and love finding new keyboard shortcuts to save me time and just be more efficient overall. Not a brag, trust me. Because of this skill, I have always excelled in prior roles that utilized it. That is, until my current career. I have been with this company for almost 3 months now. As with a lot of data entry jobs, this one has weekly productivity that you must meet. By week 2, I was meeting productivity once I grasped the role. This fueled me to try and get even faster. I learned the programs I was to be using and used simple keyboard shortcuts to toggle between programs, close them, used Excel formulas to concatenate and VLOOKUP repetitive information that others usually type out every time, etc. You get the idea. If there is a way to save time, I will find it. We get the team productivity email yesterday, and I see that I tripled what is expected of a single employee in an entire week. My numbers skyrocketed to levels that haven't been reached before. Now, here's the really fun part. Rather than getting any sort of praise, this company has felt anti-praise since I started, or being asked how I did it. I get an email from management stating my numbers are concerning and that they're essentially opening up an investigation to see if I cheated somehow. I even received a screenshot of others' numbers in one specific area with management stating it's impossible to have that much of a lead over those who have been here for years. My numbers were in the 800s while the second highest was 300 in the week. Today my boss calls me and says she's been spending the day checking my work, and so far everything has been accurate. Mind you, this investigation didn't start with her, she was just asked to check my work and was reporting what she found. But it's all accurate. She says I can continue with what I am doing since she found no problems. Now, I learned quickly that this isn't the type of place to be praised. There is zero incentive for anyone to go above and beyond if it's just going to be questioned. Now to clarify, I fully understand that if something seems off, a company is going to want to check and ensure I am understanding the work and entering it properly, especially with a new employee. But to email me stating it's concerning and impossible prior to even checking my work is where I have the issue. I shouldn't have even needed to be told it had to be looked into. They were told my numbers were accurate, and there has been radio silence since. No apology, no praise, No, how did you do it? In hopes I can show the rest of my team so we can get caught up one day. So with what little knowledge of Excel I had, I made a spreadsheet that tallies my accounts as I go so I can pace myself, and I am now alerted as soon as I meet that goal so that I can stop working without going over. I did add just a tiny bit more wiggle room to my spreadsheet as to not accidentally go under productivity to where they would have reason to use corrective action. But just ever so slightly above the bare minimum. If they're going to treat me like a bare minimum employee, they're going to get a bare minimum employee. TLDR, as a new employee, I broke a productivity record at work and was the top performer. Rather than be appreciative, management accused me of cheating before checking my work and seeing I did it accurately. I wasn't appreciated for my skills, so I made a spreadsheet that tells me when to stop working to avoid ever going above and beyond for them again. Edit to add. I am very much looking for new employment and I am open to any suggestions for remote work if any of you have leads on a company that will utilize and appreciate the skills that I have to offer. Located in the US. Story 6. Everything is easy, why are you charging me so much? So I work in the trades and my neighbor is retired and he recently asked me to fabricate a roof rack for his RV to put his boat on. I really don't like to do side work because my regular work is hard enough, but it's my neighbor, so I agree and said no problem, fairly simple, 5 hours worth of work, $150. This is friend and neighbor price. I make a lot more than that in real life. On the flip side, everyone else he talked to wanted a shitload more money. Go figure. He balked at it because he saw a video on YouTube and it's easy and doesn't take that long and I'm charging him an arm and a leg. I told him that is video editing. Fab takes time. Okay, no problem, I told him if he did the fab I would do the welding for free. The fab is the most work and it's not as much fun as the welding. This is the malicious compliance because he told me that the fabrication work is easy. Over and over again. It's like a reverse Uno card, I let him do the easy part of everything. This is in real time because it's still not finished at the time of posting. This started Sunday. Today is Wednesday afternoon, so 4 whole days available to do it. It's still not done. 4 hours in my estimate. Unfortunately, a bunch of the cuts got rejected by the QC and the welder because they weren't square and his design is a poor design, so it needs gussets and the like. Likewise, all of the weld locations that are not ground down to bare metal but are showing rust, so he needs to take the top bit of the rust off. For those in the know, it's a mix of new and old square tube and angle. If I weld something up and it breaks because of shitty design, it's on me. You have an RV that's going off-road and you have a 6 feet reach on this roof rack with a boat vibrating on a Forest Service road. I'm not going to weld 1 IN square tube to 1 inch square tube and say it's okay. I'm a certified welder and I'm well aware of limitations of 1 in DOM square tube no matter my penetration. Gussets, gussets, gussets. Today, Wednesday afternoon, get home, he's still working on it. That's 4 full days that he can work on it, the fab work that I said would take me 4 hours but he didn't want to pay for. And now he's asking a lot of questions. I love the guy and I've lived here a long time and I'll live here much longer, but shouldn't he be looking up those answers in the... That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.